Are we ready?
Yeah.
I guess, are we on? You got the camera on?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, call the meeting to order. Notice of this meeting has been published as per the Open Public Meetings Act. Everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Zangara, Mr. Melanson,
Here.
Mr. Brooks, Ms. DeCandia. Here. Ms. Hutchinson. Here. Ms. Malvone. Here. Mr. Manley.
Here.
Mr. Rubenstein.
Here.
Mr. Vigna.
Here.
Mr. Fruscheid.
Here. Okay, general announcement, no new testimony will be heard after 10 p.m. We need to approve the minutes from the May 12th meeting. Everybody should have a copy. If there's no question, a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Everyone, aye?
Aye.
Okay. All right, move on to memorializations. What memorialization do we have?
We don't have it. It's being carried to next month.
All right, so we'll go right to the new application.
Was I dramatic or
New application number 2680.
The request for the extension is first. I'm so sorry.
What's that?
The request for the extension,
not?
number 7.
Extension of time?
Where is that? I don't.
Number 7. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay, request for extension, GRMS Holdings LLC, 389 Georges Road. Do we have someone here representing?
I'm for the first application.
No. Mr. Triol is here.
Okay, you can give us your name.
Good evening. Priscilla Triolo from the law firm of Bidiger, Elias, Triolo, and Deal. On behalf of GRMS LLC, an application that you approved several years ago. I was here, I guess, in February and asked for a short extension of time for the approvals so that we could get our records in order and apply for a permit. What happened after our meeting and when I asked for the 4 months, which expires in July, the engineer, your engineer and our engineer finished their estimate of the stormwater management system that has to go underground in this lot. And between the estimated costs, escrow fees, engineering fees, it's about $300,000, which my client was unprepared for. And so he had set aside $500,000 to build the building and do the stormwater. This is coming in amazingly high at $300,000 for stormwater on this small lot. So he has to either find a partner or get his financing approved. So I was going to ask for the full year, so it would be another 8 months. But I have a second problem, is that with the financing, they want to know that the plans are approved, because when you get a construction loan, they want to know what they're loaning for. But the plans haven't been signed by this board because we didn't fund escrows for the estimate for the construction, because we can't get permits, because we can't get a contractor until we have the money in the financing. So I'm in a catch-22. So I don't know your procedures. I know that if you sign the plans, I couldn't get a building permit based on them unless we did fund the engineer's escrow before we got a permit.
Excuse me, Mrs. Trill. I don't mean to cut you off, but that was not the purpose of tonight's meeting. Tonight's meeting was to go to the full year extension This board does not direct the engineer to sign off. The plans won't be approved until you bring the escrows current. And there's several $1,000s that you were in arrears on escrow, and Artheon will not be giving final approval to the plans until you bring the escrows current. So that's something you need to work out. This board has nothing to do with it, and that's not going to happen. Bring your escrows current, and then you won't have that issue when you go for your financing. This board is not going to discuss this now tonight.
Mr. Vigna's referring to the standard and ordinary escrows, and I got the escrows from the town. My client has paid $23,843 in escrow payments, and when I calculated from the list that you gave to me, I think we're about $200 short.
Excuse me. I don't mean to be rude. You can get this worked out with Michael Ritz, the director of the department. There have been numerous emails back and forth where you have not wanted to pay, where you've wanted to re-review things, saying you or your clients didn't get bills. The bottom line is, if you're $200 off, then just pay it, correct it. CME, I'll let Jim Watson speak in a second, but CME, I believe, has completed their review, and I believe it's just a matter of you bringing the escrows current. And that was not the purpose of tonight's meeting. I indicated we had 2 other applications on, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm willing to make a motion that we approve it with no further discussion. As a courtesy to you, I think it's understandable, but this is the wrong place to be having this discussion.
I think this isn't the venue for the financial portion that you're having a problem with. As Mr. Vigna said, I don't think anybody on the board will have a problem giving you the extension you're requesting, and that's really the limitations of tonight's meeting for you, is getting your extension. We can't discuss the financial problems that you're having, because that's not the venue for it.
Yeah, I understand. I didn't expect Mr. Vigna to go into a $7,000 request when I think we're done, and I was looking for a signature on the plans, and I understand if there's an escrow amount that needs to be paid, but what I got from the town doesn't look like anything needs to be paid in October of 2025. We paid $7,500, so I don't know how to resolve this.
Well,
Mr. Melton,
it would have to be resolved as with Mr. Ritz and his department. That's who you need to resolve it with, not with us. Our job
Okay.
is to review your request and either approve it or deny it. We can't move forward with your request until community development says that you're square with whatever you need to be square with. So, as much as we'd like to help you, this isn't the place. We can't give you the help you're looking for.
Mr. Chairman, I think
Can
Other than an
I get confirmation that we're done? I mean, so that I can tally up whatever it is and make the payment? I mean, we had a resolution and we had compliances.
I'd like to make a motion that we cut this discussion off, because as a courtesy, I pushed to get Mr. Triolo on, indicating we had a very busy meeting and this was not to be discussed, and she knew it was going to be very quick, and this is upsetting to me. So, I'm willing to make a motion that we grant the additional 8-month extension, on top of the 4, but I would like to cut off all discussion on this right now. This is the wrong board, and that was made very clear to her. So I'll make a motion, we approve the additional 8 months.
I'm just going to, based on what Mr. Vigna is saying, you probably should just cut bait and take the extension that you're looking for and take your issue to the venue that you should be in, which is not here. So Mr. Vigna has made a motion that we approve your extension. Can we get a vote? Or can I get a second?
Second.
And a vote?
Mr. Melanson?
Yes.
Ms. DeCandia?
Yes.
Ms. Hutchinson?
Yes.
Ms. Malvone?
Yes.
Mr. Manley?
Yes.
Mr. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Vigna?
Yes.
Mr. Frushine?
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you for the extension, and
all right.
hopefully,
Thank you. I hope you work,
anymore.
I hope you work it out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So now we will move on. New application, 2698 Bristol Myers Squibb Sound Wall. That's 1 Squibb Drive, Block 194, lots 18, 18.02, and 19.02. Preliminary and major site plan to construct an L-shaped sound attenuation wall on Block 194, Lot 18. You have it.
Good evening,
Good
Mr.
evening.
Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Kevin Moore with the firm of Stevens & Lee, and I represent the applicant before you this evening, Bristol Myers Squibb Company. My office published notice of this application in the Star Ledger on May 21st, and we mailed by certified mail to all property owners within 200 feet on May 19th. I would request that the board take jurisdiction over the matter.
Counselor, we're good?
We can, yeah.
Very good.
Yes, we are. We're
Thank you very much.
Okay.
As you said, Mr. Chairman, the street address is 1 Squibb Drive. The property is located primarily in North Brunswick Township, with a small portion of the property located in the city of New Brunswick. The improvements which are the subject of tonight's application are located totally within North Brunswick Township. It's in your I-2 industrial district. And as you mentioned, we are seeking preliminary and final major site plan approval to replace an existing sound attenuation wall consisting of 3 levels of stacked, secured shipping containers, and we're looking to replace it with a 5-inch thick L-shaped sound wall consisting of galvanized steel panels. The purpose of the proposed sound attenuation wall is to provide sound attenuation for the fans that are atop the cooling towers between buildings 42 and 43. These fans support BMS's research and development activities on the campus. The State of New Jersey sound regulations, the North Brunswick Township Sound Ordinance, and the City of New Brunswick Sound Ordinance all provide that the sound from the fans cannot exceed a sound level at the property's property line of 65 decibels during the day and 50 decibels at night. In addition to being rather unsightly, the existing sound wall consisting of shipping containers only provides sufficient sound attenuation to meet these decibel requirements, with the fans operating at 50% capacity, which is causing a good deal of operational difficulty for the R&D activities. And we would, particularly on days when you're dealing with, you get up to 90 degrees and 90% humidity, and the new sound wall will provide sound attenuation with and meet these decibel requirements with the fans operating at approximately 75% of capacity. And I know in his memo, Mr. Watson wanted some confirmation. This is a completely conforming application. It complies to all applicable requirements of the I-2 zoning district in which the property is located. Section 25-74.C3 of your use requirements for the I-2 district says, permits other customary accessory uses, and I quote, and buildings which are clearly incidental to the principal use and building. As the applicant's witnesses will testify this evening, the proposed sound attenuation wall provides sound attenuation for the fans which support the chillers that are part of the applicant's permitted research and development activities conducted on the campus. Accordingly, the proposed sound attenuation wall is clearly a permitted accessory use in the I-2 district. As for the bulk requirements, the maximum height of the proposed sound attenuation wall is 37.5 feet, and it varies. That's the highest point. Our witnesses will explain that, which is well below the maximum permitted height of 75 feet. And the this height does not implicate any enhanced setback requirements. So we are conforming to both the use and bulk requirements of the I-2 district. I have 4 witnesses this evening. My first witness will be Mr. Philip DiSpirito, PE. He is the Senior Director of Global Capital Project Delivery with Bristol Myers Squibb Corporation. He will address the need for the proposed sound wall that I've alluded to casually, and the various construction, maintenance, and operational questions which Mr. Watson posed in his review memo. Our next witness will be Mr. Frank Coletti of Desmond, the applicant's architect, who will address the design of the proposed sound wall. Our third witness will be Mark Mayhew, PE of Pannoni, who's the applicant's site civil engineer, who will address the civil engineering aspects of the proposed sound wall. And finally, Mr. James Merrill of Milson and Wilkie, who is our acoustical engineer, who will address the proposed sound wall's attenuation of the sound from the fans. So with that, I'd like to call my first witness, Mr. DiSpirito.
Counselor, can I ask you to reposition yourself at the
I
table
will.
with your client?
Yes, I will.
Kevin?
Okay. You raise your right hand, please, sir.
Sure.
With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Just state your name and spell your last name, please.
Yes, it's Philip DiSpirito, spelled DE_SPIRITO.
Thank you.
Okay, can we get your educational
Sure.
background?
I am a degreed electrical engineer and licensed electrical engineer in the state of New Jersey, went to Rutgers University. I've been employed with Bristol Myers Squibb for 10 years, spent most of my year in pharmaceutical engineering, construction, design, built facilities all over the world. My role now as senior director, I am responsible for the group that executes capital projects, the construction that we do here at 1 Squibb Drive. Been here for 10 years. We're here tonight for a first time for a planning board.
Okay.
Great relationship with Mike Rist and his team. Been doing a lot of construction here for the time that I've been here for 10 years.
Okay,
So,
all right, we'll accept you as an expert, thank you.
thank you.
Mr. DiSpirito, can you please describe for the board the reason for the cooling towers and fans?
So the cooling towers and fans, we have 2 cooling plants on our campus here in New Brunswick. The specific cooling towers that we have here provide condenser water. It's called condenser water, cooling water for chillers, for our central chiller plant on the north side of the campus. Also, it supplies condenser water to things like air compressors and other process equipment that we have right now. Again, we have two cooling plants, both north and south. This primarily serves all of the buildings that are on the north side, which are all research and development facilities, critical to the operation.
And can you describe for the board what the sound wall will allow the fans to operate at, the percentage of speed?
So we have some restrictions with capacity right now with the cooling towers and the chiller plant that we have because of this issue that was created years ago, right? We've made modifications to the towers with low speed fans and low noise motors, but we're basically operating the plant at only 50% capacity. So that restricts the amount of tower water that we're going to have for the chiller plant and whatnot.
It restricts the what? I didn't understand. Restricts the
It
what?
restricts the amount of capacity
Oh.
that we will have, right? So we don't have enough tower water supplying the chiller plant, which reduces the amount of cooling that we can have. We integrated personnel from a site in Hopewell about 5 years ago. We're now bringing more additional operations from our Summit West site to New Brunswick. With that, we now have a challenge with cooling on the north side of the campus and restricted real estate. I think you'll see that from some of the renderings we have. By increasing the fan speed, we'll be able to get more tower capacity, which means we'll be able to get more cooling capacity within the design of the original plant.
Okay.
And Mr. Watson had some questions about the construction, how the existing containers, the existing wall, which is comprised of the shipping containers, would be taken down, and then how the new wall would be constructed, and how sound attenuation would be handled in the interim. So if you could address that, that would be terrific.
Sure. So as I mentioned, we have 2 cooling plants that are on the campus. The plan for this was not to start executing this work until fourth quarter of this year. During that time period, we would interconnect our north and south cooling plants. We have a reduced load at that time because of the seasonal temperatures.
We would take the sound wall down by not having the fans run or have a reduced amount of fans running at that time, build a new sound wall, complete that sometime first quarter of next year, and be ready for springtime, summertime next year.
And physically, you would unbolt the storage containers, I believe, and remove them one by one?
The plan is to take them down sequentially with a crane, cart them out immediately, and they'll go out as recycled materials.
And then, as far as once the new wall is in place, can you describe the maintenance protocols that BMS will be undertaking?
There'll be regular inspections of the wall. That happens with all our facades and facilities that we have. If we see anything that needs to be done for enhancement or repairs, that will be scheduled during the regular annual maintenance that we perform on the campus.
Terrific. And I know this to be the case, but it's helpful for the board to have this on the record. Obviously, you'll be performing the demolition of the existing wall and the construction of the new wall in accordance with all applicable legal requirements.
Absolutely, no different than any other construction we do on our campus.
And will you be conducting the construction to minimize disruption to the adjacent campus operations and surrounding property, including noise, dust control, truck routing, and site access?
Yes, we will coordinate everything as we normally do, site logistics within our own campus, and anything that has to do with any materials moving in and out of the campus, coordinate that with the townships that we reside in right now.
That concludes Mr. DeSprito's direct testimony. He's now available to answer any questions that the board or the public or professionals may have.
Hi, I have a question. You said that you were going to be taking down the existing containers.
Correct.
So when those go down, are those units still going to be operational? And if they are you going to put up anything, some temporary measure to
So,
help?
again, as I
with the
mentioned, we
noise?
have two plants, north and south. There is an interconnect between the two of them. What we would do is, in essence, either shut down or minimize the amount of operation we have on this north plant
Okay.
and run everything off the south. Because once it's, the plant construction is during the wintertime, your cooling loads are
has to be
absolutely
slow.
minimal at that time.
Okay. And then in terms of your working hours, is this off hours? Or
Now, we'll do it during normal hours like all
and how are
construction.
you going to mitigate the sound for the neighboring?
We always monitor sound while we're doing that. We stay in compliance with all the construction. We have a large construction project going on adjacent to this wall right now, and that we're always in compliance with the needs of the ordinances.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, I guess we're
All
ready
right.
for your next witness.
For my next witness, who is Mr. Frank Coletti. You have to sit and be sworn first.
Raise your right hand, please, sir. With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name, spell your last name, please.
Frank Coletti, spelled Coletti.
Thank you.
And Mr. Coletti, could you describe your professional experience for your education and professional experience for the board?
Sure, I received my bachelor's in architecture in 1993. I've been licensed as an architect for approximately 30 years, and I'm currently working for Desmond. I've been with them for 23 years.
I would offer Mr. Coletti as an expert in the field of architecture.
We'll accept.
Thank you. And we have, Mr. Coletti will be testifying from 3 exhibits, which I have pre-marked. For the record, we have Exhibit A1, which is an aerial photograph of the existing conditions. Then we have Exhibit A2, which is, again, that was an aerial view. This is a street level photograph of the existing conditions. And then Exhibit A3, which is a rendering of the proposed wall with the color. It's actually going to be not this very flamboyant yellow. Nice muted beige. So with that, I will let Mr. Coletti start talking. Why don't you use the hand mic so that...
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Mr. when were those aerials taken approximately?
Beg your pardon?
When were those aerials taken,
Good question.
roughly?
I would say they're fairly,
Within the last 2 years, Mr. Rego.
Within the last few years?
2.
2 years?
TWO.
Fine, thank you.
okay, can everybody hear me? Okay, so this in plan here is basically the existing shipping containers. It's 4 shipping containers this way, it's 9 this way, and there's actually a small return here. These are the units that were previously mentioned. This is Squibb Drive along here. Currently, these shipping containers are actually on the sidewalk and pretty close to Squibb Drive. Through this parking lot is the fence we will be talking about, and this is Ward Street, and these are the neighboring properties, residents.
Can you stand on the other side of the plan so the camera can get it?
Oh, sure.
For the vast viewing audience at home?
So here we have 2 dimensions noted. One is to the approximately to the fence line, which is 150 feet across this parking lot, and the other one appears to be 200 feet to the front of the residence, the closest residence.
And can you address the dimensions of the proposed sound attenuation wall?
Sure. The proposed wall is about 212 feet in this direction, which is the longer direction. In the shorter direction, we're 84 feet. And we're actually proposing extending it a little further this way with a kink and putting up 2 sections here to make sure that sound isn't traveling through the space, which is basically replacing that function of those last 2 units. It will be actually further back, and as part of that, the project will be able to reintroduce the sidewalk that is currently not usable. I have to assume that people are, if they're walking on this side of the street, are probably walking in traffic, or if they're walking on the other side of the street through the parking lot. So that's a benefit to this project.
Can you address the thickness of the proposed?
The panels are
attenuation?
insulated. They are 5 inches thick, and we have approximately 37 columns. Each panel is stacked 2 foot high, 12 foot in width, and the approximate height is 35 feet. The elevation between the wall is approximately 3.5 feet, so that's why we're a little higher. We're at 37 feet. It varies between 35 feet and 37, and that's because of the topography of the existing site.
Did you say 5 inches thick? I thought it was thick.
It's 5 inches thick. The columns are approximately 16 by 16, the H shapes. And other than the little baffles.
The proposed
Sure.
because those are, Tom, those are the actual shipping containers, and they are
They're approximately
like
8 feet wide, and I believe they're 20 feet long.
Yeah, because I knew the wall was wide. I didn't know what the 5 inches was.
It's the third.
Okay, yeah, okay, gotcha. So we'll come back to this. Okay, this is the rendering. These are the stack panels. They're 2 feet high. They're 12 feet in length. There's actually a slight variation in here where we had to create a 20-foot bay because there's some existing underground utilities that we're bridging. So I think that might have been one of the comments. So we've kind of identified what's on site and we've modified the design. Other than that, all the panels are 12 feet wide in both directions. These are the verticals, which are the columns. They're H shapes. And the top of the wall is set at 142 feet in elevation, which is about approximately 35 feet from the grade, which varies. And the grade varies about 3'6" up and down throughout the length of the wall. This is the sidewalk as proposed. It's obviously aerial, probably about at the property line. And as you can see, the buildings are obviously taller. most of the equipment is lower, which will help with the sound agitation.
Can I ask what's the height of the cooling towers now?
I am not familiar with,
Phil, do you know?
Couldn't tell you exactly. Safe to say it's less than the 37-foot that.
yeah, I think we've engineered it to be 35. We must have some data on that. And then in this corner here, this, as mentioned before, when these renderings were produced, we were looking for a rust color or this mustardy color, and subsequently we have decided to tone it down and go with this beige, more neutral, which would be more in keeping and help it blend in with the neighboring buildings. So,
Can you discuss the the maintenance needs of the wall? I mean, we've heard Mr. DiSpirito talk about the fact that BMS is going to maintain it, but is much maintenance even going to be necessary?
it shouldn't be. It's going to be powder coated, as well as the steel structures or the columns. They'll all be powder coated. The composition of the wall is actually perforated on the interior, and it has sound batting inside of it. So that will help deaden the sound from the interior out. The outside will be smooth. It will not have any perforations. So being a powder-coated material, it should stand up pretty well.
And it's galvanized as well?
It is galvanized, yes, galvanized steel.
What's the life expectancy of the wall, like, when it starts to,
I would think it's going to,
like,
it should stand, fairly long. I don't really know. The steel is what's holding it up. There shouldn't be any maintenance. If there had to be panels that were needed replacement, I guess there should be a way to do that because they are stacked.
is there any maintenance that needs to be, any, like, ongoing, once they're installed, is there any type of ongoing maintenance that would need to be, like, every year you would have to go in and check the joints to make sure everything is sealed? So, because of the variation of the weather that we have here?
Well, I think
As
they
our
alluded
witness
to-
testified, BMS is inspecting it annually.
Oh,
If
okay,
there's any need for inspection, if any need for replacement, they would replace it, but they do annual inspections.
okay.
And then as far as maintenance, I think occasional cleaning, we'd have to find out exactly what type of routine the client would be doing to keep it looking as best as good.
And I saw that you're going to open up the sidewalk. Is there anything that's going to be done in terms of the lighting along that side? There's no, we're not like highlighting this wall or anything like that? Is there any?
No, our site
lights?
civil engineer will be addressing the
Okay.
specifics for the record, but I can
Okay.
answer. We're just relocating one light. There won't be any other changes to the existing lighting.
Okay, so whatever lighting is there now that's on that street will
Yeah.
be maintained?
Will not be increased
Okay.
or reduced. That concludes Mr.
Actually, we just go back to this photo, which is the second exhibit. This is from Ward Street, and this is obviously the property line, and is looking at the existing condition of the containers. From this vantage point, I guess you can see some stuff here, but I think that probably is more, the chillers are over here, from my understanding.
Plus, the new wall will be higher.
Yeah, the new wall, we're going about 7 feet higher, and that's just to, it was engineered that way to make sure we can gain maximum efficiency.
And just, so there's no plan to put any type of speakers, fire strobe, none of that stuff on this
No.
wall? It's just strictly a wall?
Strictly a wall, strictly a sound attenuation barrier to mitigate the sound from the fans.
Okay. And you guys have done this, I guess, the study to see, based off of the sound, that it's already,
Right.
that once
We
you
have-
go up
our
to full
next witness-
capacity, once you go up to full capacity with your fans, has
We're not
the-
going to be able to go to 100%. I mean.
No, but I mean, you're going to
we're
increase.
trying to
your-
go from 50 to 75% capacity.
But with that, you've done your calculations to make sure that that this particular product is going to be able to absorb the noise that's going to be coming?
Absolutely. My final witness is an acoustical engineer, and he will address the studies he's
Okay.
done to, the wall was built with his advice, so that it would work.
Okay.
And I guess the only other aspect I haven't spoken about was actually the structural aspect of it.
Yes.
Working with the geotech engineer and my engineers, as well as consulting engineers. The geotech report says bedrock is approximately 15 feet below grade. So we are proposing going 10 feet into the bedrock with 30-inch foundations. The steel column will also follow that path. So approximately 25 feet below grade, if the assumption of bedrock is correct. But we're going to say a minimum 10 feet into the bedrock, which should structurally be sound.
And for that, is that a noisy operation when you're going into the ground? Is it going to disrupt the neighbors? Is there going to be vibration? Like, how is that going to?
Going into bedrock,
Yeah.
I think you'd be more familiar with the sounds that might be produced.
Bill, why don't you come back up, so, for the record,
Sure. So we've done this construction in the
Can you
past.
just grab the mic?
The mic.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we've done this construction in the past with other installations that we've done. So we'll manage that during the time. And as I mentioned previously, we monitor sound and disruption, anything that goes on to stay within the ordinances of the township, right? So we will look at that. Do I think it will generate enough noise that there'll be problems with the surrounding? My opinion, no, but we'll see that when we execute the
I mean, you're
construction.
going into the ground. I mean, is it one of those big things that just bangs this thing down into the ground?
It depends on how
It's called pile.
we do the excavation.
Yeah.
It may not need drilling or whatnot. So we'll execute that during our construction phase.
Okay.
you're free for now.
Okay. Then, any other questions for this? No? Okay.
And I just wanted, that's fine. You're done.
Thank you.
In his memo, Mr. Watson raised several comments regarding structural, in Part 4 of Roman numeral Part 4, structural comments, and Roman numeral Part 5, which is geotechnical comments. And what we would do is we would comply with all of those comments as part of resolution compliance, should the board see fit to grant an approval.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to call my third witness, Mr. Mark Mayhew, our site civil engineer.
If you could raise your right hand with regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name again and spell your last name, please.
It's Mark Mayhew, Mayhew.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayhew, could you give your education, licenses, and professional experience?
I have a civil engineering degree from University of Delaware, 1981. I'm a professional engineer licensed in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware. I've testified before planning boards and board of adjustments throughout the state of New Jersey for 30 years. I've had testimony found credible at the Pennsylvania Supreme Court.
Thank you. I'd offer.
We'll accept.
I thank you. Mr.
Thank you.
Mayhew, can you describe the existing conditions from a site plan perspective and then the proposed conditions?
I think the board has seen some close-up views of the site. We have one more exhibit to share.
This is A4, which is the submitted site plan on a board.
Correct. This is the drawing titled VIC. It was in the package that we submitted, produced by our firm, Pannoni Associates. And it tries to help. As you can see, it's an extensive, approximately 80-acre site. We're limiting our work to the far northern west corner near a parking lot, and as noted, Squid Drive. And as was noted earlier, our limit of disturbance is approximately 3,500 square feet. So it's a very small impact to the overall site. The existing conditions are already disturbed with either concrete curbs, sidewalks, roadways, and any area that's not paved is essentially a gravel surface. The proposed condition is the same. There will be, once we remove the containers, we're going to decrease impervious cover on the site. As you've heard, these containers are about 8 feet wide. We're going to put back a 5-inch panel. So we're going to pick up a lot of opportunity for stormwater to hit the stone underneath. And as you've heard, we're reintroducing a sidewalk back to the site running along Squid Drive.
Is that going to be a new sidewalk, or the existing sidewalk will now be exposed?
It'll be a new sidewalk.
And then can you discuss the washed river stone around the base of the wall?
Correct. The plan is to put the decorative stone in unconcrete areas to match the stone that exists throughout the site currently. There were 9 submission waivers that we requested. 8 of them are very similar. They have to do with your requirements for certain existing surveys. Because, as I noted, the site's almost 80 acres and we're disturbing under 5,000 square feet, we've requested essentially partial waivers to just limit our field survey work to the area of actual construction. In our opinion, adding any extra survey work or other items would not change our ability to address the impacts of this construction. And so we would ask for your consideration of those 9 submittal waivers.
And Mr. Mayhew, given the 3,000 square feet of maximum of site disturbance, will we need any approvals from the Freehold Soil Conservation District, the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, or the DNR Canal Commission?
We will not need those 3 outside agencies. As you mentioned, since we're less than 5,000 square feet of disturbance, we do not need to get Conservation District approval. I've checked on the DNR Canal Commission webpage, and we do not fall in their review zone, so we do not need an application. And we've also checked with the New Jersey DEP webpage that identifies potential wetland areas, and there are no potential wetland areas within hundreds of feet of the proposed site. As I mentioned, we're going to be decreasing the amount of impervious cover on site, so there's no need to address any stormwater management issues. We are maintaining the existing drainage patterns. Rainfall on the north side of the sound wall hits Squib Drive and will continue to flow to an existing roadway inlet. Rainfall on the, we'll say, south side of the wall hits the interior area, and there's an existing stormwater system interior of the wall. And there will actually be less runoff to those structures. There's no traffic impact. There's no change in parking demand or traffic generation with the project. As it's been mentioned, we'll be increasing pedestrian safety by reconstructing a sidewalk and extending it from an existing sidewalk. I think there might have been some questions in your board engineer's review letter. I just wanted to, for the record, to state that the sound wall has no impact on the existing internal circulation. It's going back into a location where there's currently the cargo containers. The wall will have no impact to emergency access, service areas, loading areas. And as I said, it increases pedestrian access. The applicant and our firm have attempted to verify all existing utilities on site, and certainly during the time of construction, our contractors will identify any other potential conflicts and make appropriate field adjustments. As was noted, there is one light pole near the cargo containers. We're going to shift it about 15 feet just to get it out of the way of the new wall. It does not change the amount of light on site or off site. And we've agreed with your township, your planning board engineer to add a note about clean fill. We don't anticipate any material being brought on site, but we would certainly obtain the appropriate soil importation permit with the township if it's necessary. And we will certainly work with your board engineer to add and adjust any construction details to be in conformance with all township specifications. And we also anticipate receiving a permit after we make application to the county planning board.
I think that covers it. The other thing, we would comply with Part 10 of your board engineer's review memo, which is basically a paragraph with one exception. There's a mention there of performance guarantees, and since we're not dedicating the wall to the township and it's not perimeter landscaping, there wouldn't be performance guarantees required. Obviously, we'll calculate the value of the improvements for the inspection fees. Mr. Mayhew is now available for any questions that the board, the professionals, or the public may have.
Anything? No? Anyone?
No.
You're off the hook.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Now I have my final witness, Mr. James Merrill, who is our acoustical engineer.
Oh, can I ask, I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
Oh, sir.
Sorry. I always have questions. In terms of, I know it's an L wall, I'm assuming that you've done some sort of calculations in terms of wind, and that's going to be hitting up against this wall during...
Yeah, those were addressed. Those are structural engineering issues. We don't have a structural engineer here tonight. Your board engineer ably protected you, and as a
Okay.
condition compliance, we would satisfy all those criteria.
Okay, all right, okay,
Correct.
thank you.
So you didn't really need me.
Huh? No, I don't know, maybe you could have...
Everybody needs to feel needed, right?
Raise your right hand, sir, when you're ready. With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony that you're about to give shall be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
State your name and spell your last name, please.
James Merrill, M-E-R-R-I-L-L.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Turn that off.
Let's not have feedback.
Yeah, let's not get that.
Mr. Merrill, could you need to be sworn.
Yeah, he just did that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Could
just-
you give your education licenses and professional experience for the board?
Yeah, Penn State University in architectural engineering in 1982, specializing in building systems and acoustics, noise and vibration. I have worked in the profession for 45-plus years, kind of scary. Again, I'm a partner, or not again, I'm a partner at Shen Milson Wilkie, an international acoustical consulting firm. Again, been doing this forever.
I would offer, yeah, thank
We'll
you.
accept them.
Thank you very much. All right, Mr. Merrill, can you address the sound impacts of the fans and then the manner in which this wall succeeds in attenuating them to state standards and township standards?
Right. The sound barrier wall is designed and selected actually by us, recommended materials to act as a sound barrier from the cooling tower sound emanating towards the Ward Street side and surrounding area. It is to go to the height of the cooling towers, at least to the top of the fans, which you seen on one exhibit. I don't know the number offhand, but you'll see the fan shroud is sticking above the shipping containers.
The idea with the new one is that with the I'll call it real sound barrier wall, goes up to the height of the towers to block more sound. The interior of the wall is perforated with insulation within it to absorb the sound in the cavity there. And the structure, the hard panel side, is a heavy metal to work as the sound barrier itself. And as these panels slip into the the H columns or the columns, they have gaskets in there so that it seals the whole system as it goes in, and at the top of the panels, they interlock and seal that way as well. So it's a completely sealed sound absorptive wall up to the height of the fans, and that continues around that kind of height. And let's see, what else?
Excuse me, it's to the height of the fans or above the fans? I thought earlier I heard that it was going to be above the fans.
It could be above the fans. The minimum was to the height of the fans. That's where our calculations and consideration is. Now, if could be areas that they are higher because of the fan differential, but it's the minimum, as I stated, was to be the height of the fans themselves.
So how does the wall then absorb, because isn't noise coming from above? If this is the wall here, and then your equipment is here,
Right.
and then there's noise emanating from the top, so how is that?
It bends over the wall. The wall acts, there's minimal sound going through. The sound going through the wall is far less than the sound going over the wall. So it's all in the calculations of determining what is needed and what is practical. In a lot of projects, you have to go with what's practical to build and provide, and then you get what you get. That's why we're proposing, or the team, we are doing a sound study after the wall is built to verify what speed or what capacity it can go up to meet the code, to meet the nighttime code.
And so so based off of the sound that is being emanated from the containers now, once you have the wall built, that's when you'll be able to determine whether or not?
Well, you tested already. And
Yeah, we tested already.
This would just be verifying that, correct?
Right.
So
Yes.
you've already done
I
the
didn't understand what you
calculations?
just said.
Yeah.
We would establish the operating conditions of the fans to their maximum potential to comply with the nighttime code when the new wall is built. That's the bottom line, is that we're going to establish the field performance and the sound level at the property line during the night. We've been out there many times, 2 a.m., and have control over the towers and get them to operate at different speeds. And we determine, okay, you can run it at what we're hoping to be about 75% compared to now 50%. We're going to get more performance out of that real wall, the sound barrier wall, than when you do with the shipping containers and the sound and having sight of the fan shrouds.
So you're going to build the wall. When the wall's done, you're going to run the fans, and you're going to adjust them until you get it to the rating you need it to be to meet the limits.
Yep. And then they can put that in their control system, and it won't go above that during certain periods of time.
And what is the percentage that you're looking, based off of what you're doing, the sound that's being emanated now, are you looking to get, 25% less sound?
We're
Or
looking-
what?
No, we're looking to, it's the same sound generally, because we're running the towers louder to get the same sound level, because you're getting more efficiency out of that sound barrier wall.
So there's no relief for the people that are sitting,
It's
that are
not going to
that are
get
living
quieter,
there.
but it's
It'd
going to be
just
within your code.
Pardon me?
It's not going to get quieter, but it'll be within your code.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they're going to meet the legal requirement.
They get no
have to
relief.
meet.
And quite frankly, most of the time, it's nighttime,
quiet.
the system's not going to be running that's, kind of worse, even 75% at nighttime is probably, I mean, others could address that, but typically that's not all that you need. You don't need that much capacity during the nighttime, most of the time.
But in the summer, it's going to be on like
Yeah, there's
24.
design days that they'll want 100, but they can't. We're going to put some restrictions on them.
Right. Okay. Anyone else?
I just have one other.
You have another one, don't you? Okay.
Sorry. Okay, so you said that the panels.
It's your last one, you're running out.
This would be my last one. So
Oh, I
you
don't
said
know about
The makeup of the panels is perforated on one side, which is that side, which I'm sure is facing the fans. It's
Yeah,
gonna
facing the sound
absorb-
source, yeah.
Absorb that. How is that protected against the weather? Is there any?
It has
because I
drain
see
holes.
that there's weep holes
It's
in
fiberglass
Yeah.
inside behind the perforated metal
Uh-huh.
with little standoffs they put in it.
Okay.
And that water runs through it, have weep holes, and it all goes down through the panels and out. It's
Okay.
designed to,
And are those weep holes on the street side or the other side?
they're on
Both
the
sides?
perforated side. 'cause
Perforated
That's where
side,
it's,
so it'll go,
yeah.
okay.
But the bottom has a kind of a notched area, so it's on that one side.
Okay,
It drains all.
all right, okay, I'm not going to ask any more questions.
You know? Okay. All right.
So I just have one thing. So after you do you construct the wall, you do the post-construction analysis, you'll develop a report and submit that so we can document what you
Yeah.
found and what it's going to operate at?
Absolutely. That would be a condition of approval, condition subsequent.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we good? All right, does the board have any other questions? Motion that we open it to the public?
I make a motion, we open it to the public.
Second, anyone?
Second.
Okay, anybody from the public wants to be heard in regards to this application? Okay, motion we close.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all right, now we'll need a motion on the application to approve or deny, whichever you'd like. Anyone?
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Bristol-Myers sound wall,
Subject to
subject to
the
whatever
engineer's condition.
requirements are necessary.
Yes,
Okay, second?
I can second.
You second it?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Roll call?
Mr. Melanson?
Yes.
Ms. DeCandia? Yes. Ms. Hutchinson?
Yes.
Ms. Malvone? Yes. Mr. Manley?
Yes.
Mr. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Vigna?
Yes.
Mr. Frushine?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Okay, moving on. 2700 to 1460, no, this is application. Application 2700, 1460 Livingston Avenue, Block 140.01, lots 5.02 and 7.01. Preliminary and major site plan to demolish an existing three-story office building and construct an approximately 44,000 square foot warehouse with a 4,300 square foot office area in its place. Okay. Ready when you are. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Planning Board, professionals. My name is Thomas Garlick. I'm a partner with Murphy, Schiller & Wilkes in Newark. I'm going to get used to the microphone. Sorry if I'm shouting. We're here tonight on behalf of the applicant, New Brunswick Livingston Avenue, LLC, in connection with, as the Chair just summarized, an application for preliminary and final site plan approval for the property located at 1460 Livingston Avenue, designated as Block 140.01, lots 5.02, 7, and 7.01 on the North Brunswick Township tax map. The subject property consists of approximately 21.03 acres and is a split lot parcel located within the I-1 Industrial District and the C2 General Commercial Zoning District. The property currently contains, I believe, 7 existing buildings with associated parking driveways and 2 access points from Livingston Avenue, supporting a mix of different uses on the property. The applicant does not have, nor does it seek any access from Route 1. So this is directly off of Livingston Avenue. Tonight's application involves only the I-1 industrial district. This project, the proposal, and the site plan are squarely within the I-1 district, where the applicant proposes to demolish the existing 3-story office building and construct in its place an approximately 44,000 square foot warehouse with approximately 4,300 square feet of office space and 6 loading docks and a drive-in ramp, which are located at the southern part of the building. The I-1 industrial district provides for warehouse uses, which is what's proposed tonight. So we are a fully conforming site plan application. We're not seeking any waivers. We're not seeking any variances. There are 2 pre-existing non-conforming conditions. They are the 30-foot parking buffer strip, which is currently present at 7.67 feet on the side of the property adjacent to the residential zone. We are not changing, altering, or exacerbating that strip. So to the extent that the board requests or requires that it's a waiver, a variance, it's an existing non-conforming condition. We are not changing or altering it. Any parking that we are proposing with this site is well into the property more than 30 feet. So the parking that is within that 30-foot strip is already existing. The other condition is a side yard setback for a building that's located in the southern part of the site, essentially south of where we are proposing the new warehouse. That building's not changing, it's existing already. It's at 29.2 feet where 30 feet is required. Again, existing non-conforming condition. We are not touching it, we're not exacerbating the condition. In terms of testimony, we have 3 witnesses tonight. We have our professional engineer, Mitchell Summit from Ware Malcolm, who worked on the site plan. Will provide the board with a summary of same, stormwater management, and the environmental features of the project, and also address the board engineer's review letter dated June 4th, 2026. We also have our architect, John Anderson, also from Ware Malcolm, to go over the proposal for the building, the features of it, height, and also provide the board with a rendering of what's proposed. And our final witness is Andrew Veranda, who is our traffic engineer, who will provide a summary of the report that was submitted with the application and address any concerns raised in the board engineer's report. We previously had submitted our notice package to the town. I believe it's been received. It's in order. We did proper publication on May 25th, and also our mailing on the May 29th, so I would ask the board to take jurisdiction over the application.
I have one question, Mr. Garlick.
Yes.
I noticed in the file that you had requested a radius list back in January, which was over 5 months ago.
Yep.
And since that time, there have been 5 changes of ownership. I'm wondering if you took any steps to notify the new owners of this application.
Yes. I apologize. Mr.
The new owner.
Rago, right?
Pardon?
Your name, Mr. Rago?
Mr. Rago, yes.
Ragos, thank you, Mr. Rago. I appreciate that you made that point. So we had requested a new and updated 200-foot list about a month ago. I understand that there was some issues with the individual or the system that provides that update. However, we did speak with the zoning officer who gave us that information on those 5 additional owners.
Right.
Provided a list to same, I believe, on May 29th and certified it, which was part of the package that we submitted.
Yes.
And we did send our mailings to those 5 new owners that Mr. Profaci had provided to us. So we did basically get an updated list and updated information so that notice would go to those 5 new owners.
So they have been notified, were they notified approximately 10 days ago or within?
On
May 29th.
May 29th. The same day that the list was provided, because we knew we were getting close.
Good.
We had our mailings ready. We had actually been provided that information.
Okay.
And then Mr. Profaci gave us that list on that date, just so that we could conform with the requirements of the municipal land use law.
Good, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
We have jurisdiction to hear the case.
Okay. Thank you. So you are ready for your first witness?
Yes.
Okay.
Mitchell?
But I'll set that in a second.
Could you raise your hand, please, sir? With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Could you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Mitchell Summit, Summitt.
S-U-M. And what's your first name?
Mitchell.
Mitchell, thank you.
Mr. Summit, could you provide the board with your educational background and professional licensing in the field of professional engineering, as well as your experience providing testimony before municipal land use boards in New Jersey?
Of course. I have my Bachelor's of Science in Civil Engineering from the University of Wisconsin in 2012. I have my Master's in Civil Engineering from Stevens Institute in 2022. I've been a licensed professional engineer since 2018 in both New York and New Jersey, and I have testified in front of not this specific board, but boards similar to this in the past.
We'll accept them.
Thank you.
Sorry about this.
The documents which you marked, just while you set up your easel, I just want to be efficient with our time. We have, let's see. You know what? I'll just let him mark them and identify them as we go through. I don't want to mess up his order.
So,
I was going to say something.
okay, this thing on? Okay.
And what are we looking at here?
Yes, sir. So this is the Exhibit A1 presenting, and this is an overall aerial of the entire site as it exists today. As I heard the question from the first one, I believe this was taken during construction of these two buildings, so I believe it's roughly 2 years old, the aerial. And just to give a quick background of the existing conditions, let's see. So this, the office park here is made up of 3 lots. What we're going to talk about today is specifically, it might be difficult to see from where you guys are at, but there's an outline of the line here of the area that we're specifically going to propose development on. And that's all within lot 502 that Tom discussed earlier.
Could you point out Route 1 and Livingston Avenue for everyone?
Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. So Route 1 is over here. I'll refer to it as Plan East. And then this is Livingston Avenue, Plan West. To Plan South, there's additional industrial commercial development similar to what you'd find on this industrial park. And then to the north is the residential area that's within the PUD development zone. And currently on lot 502, which is what we're talking about, there's existing 7 buildings. So you got one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll just take this time to point out that the existing nonconformance for the side yard is this building to this property line here. So that is just shy of the 30 feet here. Existing building, we're not touching it. And then the other 2 are the 2 more recent ones that you guys are probably familiar with that came before you guys not too long ago. Let's see what's next. So yeah, as Tom alluded to earlier, this development is, although this lot is within 2 zones, this development is completely 100% within the I-1 industrial zone. And let's see, there's an existing, there's 0 access from US Route 1. There's 2 access points from Livingston Avenue that we're not changing whatsoever. We'll leave them exactly the same. There's the existing roughly 10,600 square foot office building that we're proposing to demolish right here with an undeveloped portion of land behind it and a dirt gravel access road to the side there that I'll address later in the proposed portions. Stormwater for the existing conditions, the building and everything forward flows planned north into storm drains, which eventually discharge into this basin in front of Livingston, and then everything from the rear of the building down flows into the wetlands, which are located here, and then a drainage swale, which eventually discharges to what is now a basin here that is part of this development. With that, I think I'm going to move on to the proposed, unless there's any additional clarifications you'd like to see on the existing. With that, okay. Now I'm going to present Exhibit A2, which is a colored site plan rendering of the proposed conditions. I did my best we wanted to outline, focus on the area that we're proposing so you can kind of see the aerials grade back in the areas that we're not planning on touching. And other than that, it's the same orientation that you saw on Exhibit A1, US Route 1 over here to the plan east, Livingston, plan west, residential to the north, and additional industrial developments to the south. As mentioned earlier by Tom, the applicant proposes to replace the existing 3-story, 10,600 square foot office building and undeveloped space to the rear with a new 44,000 square foot speculative warehouse distribution building. And within that warehouse, there's 4,300 square feet of office space proposed. And I kind of alluded to this earlier, but although the parcel itself is very large and the industrial park is relatively large, the area of development that we're proposing is small-ish, roughly 2.41 acres on the parcel that's, over 17. The building would include 6 loading docks in the rear of the building. Again, that's on the other side from the residential development, as well as proposed landscaping, lighting, associated stormwater facilities to the south as well. As I mentioned on the previous slide, we're not altering either of it's a board, but we're not altering either of the entrances, and the function of the site as it is today is the entrance to the north is for your vehicular access and standard vehicle parking, which is where all the entrances to the buildings are. And then to the south, that's where you have your truck entrances, and there is signage that says specifically that this is the truck entrance and that they're not to use the one to the north.
I'm sorry, I didn't follow that. Trucks enter at just in the southernmost driveway?
Yes, sir. Only here in the southern portion along Livingston. They do not enter to the north. This is for vehicular access only, and that is currently labeled or signed. There's signage from wayfinding to dictate that.
Is it like 18-wheelers are we looking at?
Yeah, it will be. It's an industrial warehouse proposed. So they're large vehicles. Yeah, the WB67 vehicles. But that's currently what's being used, to get to these buildings over here as well. So that's kind of an existing condition. Regarding the bulk requirements for this site, as Tom mentioned before, we're in compliance. This particular building is in compliance with all of the bulk requirements. There's the 2 outstanding existing conditions. Just to point out specifically where Tom was discussing earlier regarding the parking, that's this row of parking right here, which is within the 30 feet. That exists today. I know it's shown in within our area of disturbance, but that's just a mill and overlay and restriping. Those parking spaces are going to go back exactly as they are. We just figured if we're redoing the asphalt, we might as well make it look nice all over.
Mitchell, just to be clear, the new parking that's proposed on the southern side of that drive-by on the north side of the building, so right adjacent to the building, that's all out of the 30-foot buffer, is that correct?
Correct, yes. So yeah, you have
the new parking that's proposed in that aisle is compliant with the buffer requirement?
That is correct. Okay, regarding stormwater management, we submitted, a comprehensive stormwater design with supplemental report, and the stormwater management design will comply with all township, state, and additional agencies such as the DRCC, which I can address in a little bit. But so the proposed stormwater management design maintains this existing patterns. If you recall, I mentioned that there were 2 stormwater design patterns in the existing condition, kind of the existing building and forward, heading out towards Livingston, and then that open space in the rear, which heads towards Route 1 within the wetlands and the swale and to a basin over there. We're maintaining both of those drainage areas and those drainage patterns, so the building is actually pitched about 1/4 of the way down to send that forward portion of the building, which would represent the existing building as it is today, and then the parking area there, and then the rear of the building where the open space would be gets pitched towards the rear, where we have stormwater facilities to make sure that we're compliant with water quality, water quantity, all the fun NJDP requirements that we need to comply with these days. And I just wanted to address, so I know we received the letter, the engineer's review letter, and on June 4th, and we have gone through it, and there's plenty of comments. It's a comprehensive letter, very well done. There was nothing to me that jumped out that I thought would be an issue, especially regarding stormwater. I know there was a lot of sticking points there, and I would just like to point out that we've submitted now twice to the DRCC, and some of the comments that we received from the DRCC were duplicative in the comment that we received from you, sir. And so we have been working through addressing some of those in the process, and as part of resolution compliance, we would definitely coordinate with your office and your team to make sure that that is up to standard. Moving on to utilities. Utilities is pretty straightforward because converting a 3-story office building to a warehouse, you'll actually reduce your water and sewer requirements, so that dependence will go down. Landscaping and screening, we proposed, it's a tight area, so it's a little difficult, but we did our best to propose as many trees and greenery as we could in that front of the building that's facing the residential property. You'll also see that we propose greenery here. This small area here is a stormwater detention planter, and then just some nice green lawn in the rear where it's not going to be as visible to most people, because back here is where all the big trucks come and everything like that. Regarding lighting, there's existing poles along this property line that have existing fixtures that face towards our proposed building. Those are proposed to remain. We're not touching those. And then there are 4 wall packs that are going to be proposed along the facade of the front of the building. Those wall packs will be at 20 feet high, so relatively low compared to the overall height of the building. And as our study shows, those are downward-facing, night sky compliant with screens or shields, to make sure that there's no spillage over the property line. In the rear of the site, there's 2 wall packs along the truck court, as well as 3 proposed light poles that will illuminate the rear of the site. Regarding security and fencing, this application does not propose any change to fencing or security measures that already exist on site, so that will be unchanged. Regarding signage, same thing. We're not proposing any changes to the signage or wayfinding, and the proposed application does not propose any tenant signage. It's a speculative development, so should a tenant move in and want signs on the building, they would have to come back before the board in order to get that approval.
Just to be clear, we propose that the tenant would follow the ordinance. So if there's a sign permit application for a fully conforming sign, they would follow that. Obviously, if there's any deviations from the sign ordinance, they would need to seek a variance from the board, just to be clear.
And then the last thing I would like to mention is, if you recall from Exhibit A1, there was an existing dirt gravel path that provided access from the rear of the site to what I would call the front of the site, the northern portion of the site. We had preliminary talks with the fire official while we were developing these concepts, and we're told that given this development to the east, they would have full access and accessibility, and so they were okay with us removing that access road. Obviously, we will still go forward and get final approval from the fire official, but we have had that talk with them. And I think that's all I have prepared, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just,
Of course, go ahead.
Just curious. Is there any, like, thought to, like, doing any type of solar panels or anything like that on the roof? Or no?
I would have to defer to ownership and architecture team on that one.
Okay.
But I think it's something that they would be
Curious.
willing to explore. And I know that they have, having worked with them on other projects, I know that they've put solar on other projects. So I can't say that from a civil engineering perspective, but it's something that we can look into.
All right, just curious. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Is the warehouse the same height, taller, shorter than the building that's being ripped down?
It's very close to the same height. I don't know the exact height of the existing building. The proposed building is 32-foot clear, so that's within the building, and less than the 40-foot maximum height. The existing building's a 3-story office building. If you approximate, that's probably at least 36 feet tall. I don't know the exact height of it, but it's relatively close.
Our architect will also hit on that, just because
Okay.
he was
Yeah,
going to cover.
I was just curious, since
Yep.
since you don't have the required buffer there, if you weren't going 5 or 6 feet higher. Yeah, okay. So your architect will address that.
Our architect will provide you a little bit more testimony on the existing based on, again, what Mitchell was just saying, the height, the number of stories of the existing building versus what's proposed, and just give you an idea.
Mr. Watson, do you have any?
Yes, so I know that you mentioned you reviewed the grading, drainage, and stormwater management comments. I just want to make sure that you reviewed the other sections as well, like the environmental comments and site plan comments. Make sure that there's nothing in the memo that you take any objection to, utilities. And then, there is one issue that I think we should discuss is the landscaping comments, and there's a significant amount of tree removal out there, and there's a process in the ordinance that you're going to need to follow with tree removal calculations and identifying the species and, the total disturbance and what your tree replacement plan is. And if you're going to have to follow that ordinance, and if you can't replace the trees, then there's a compensation in order to plant in other locations. So I just want to confirm that you reviewed everything and you're okay with it.
Yeah, so we're not looking for a waiver from that, so we will follow the requirements of the ordinances as a condition of approval.
Okay. And any other comments in the memo that you have any issues with, or you plan to comply with the memo?
Are you suggesting we should have some?
No.
No.
I like it when you don't.
No, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make it seem like I only read the stormwater section. I read all the comments, and yeah, we plan on complying with the comments and working with your team to resolve them.
We'll work with you. So could you also run through what other permits you may need for this? I know you mentioned DRCC, and I saw some letters. I just want to know if you I know we met with the team a while back, and you filed an LOI, and I think you got that, and we requested it, and just a brief permit update.
Yes, sir. So Middlesex County Planning Board submitted, waiting on comments. The DRCC, we've submitted twice. It is back in their court, waiting on comments. I know in your letter you mentioned that NJDOT. I will defer to the traffic engineer for that one, but if we need to get a letter of no impact, we're not touching Route 1 or anything, or either road, actually.
Yeah, we're just to be clear, we're not changing the ingress egress, so we're anticipating there to be a letter of no interest, but we can make that application, that request.
Okay. Freehold Soil Conservation District, we've submitted and just received comments on May 27th, so we will address those. I know you had listed both the and we will provide the LOI, which you are correct was received, and then the NJDEP wetlands buffers. So we're not going to touch the wetlands at all. So I don't think there should be any reason why we would need to submit that permit, I hope, because we're specifically trying to avoid touching those wetlands. And then you listed the BWSC treatment works. I don't believe that will be applicable given the small amount of sewer capacity required. And then I see listed North Brunswick Police, Fire, and Public Works, and Veolia Water. So all of those we will need to receive.
Okay. All right, very good.
Okay, we're good? Yeah, okay. Okay, we're ready for your next witness.
Thank you. I'd like to call our architect, John Anderson, up.
Raise your right hand, please. With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name, spell your last name, please.
State your name, spell your last name.
John Anderson, Anderson.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Could you provide the board with the benefit of your educational background in the field of architecture, as well as the licenses you hold and your experience before any other land use boards in New Jersey in the capacity as an architect?
Sure. I graduated from Philadelphia University in 2008 with a Bachelor of Science in Architecture. I've been practicing in the field since that time. I am a currently licensed architect in the state of New Jersey. License is in good standing, and I've presented to boards in numerous jurisdictions throughout the state.
Okay, we'll accept.
Thank you.
We'll accept.
We presented last night together, so I can vouch for him. Mr. Anderson, your office prepared the architectural drawings submission set that was provided to the board and its professionals with this application?
Yes, we did.
Could you provide the board with a presentation or a summary of those plans?
Sure. Should we label this one A?
A3, I think.
A3, yeah. Just identify the document for the board, please.
A3 is labeled as conceptual floor plan. Again, Mr. Summit gave a summary of what we're proposing to do on the site here. My plan here really just blows that up and shows a little bit more detail. The building being speculative in nature, there's not too much to talk about on the interior. It is proposed as a more or less empty warehouse, where we see the utility rooms proposed up here in the top left corner. Future office space up to 4,300 square feet is what's planned. Typical column bay spacing of 50 feet by 54 feet in the majority of the building. We do have a smaller bay on the north side that's only 40 feet deep, and a speed bay along the south side, which is a loading and staging bay in a warehousing operation.
Can I ask you to slow down for just 1 second? Back here, I can basically see nothing other than some black spots towards the bottom. So you just put, where are the loading bay? Are those the loading bays to the bottom?
Loading bays are indicated here.
Okay, I see those, right, those are clear. Otherwise, I'm just looking at a white sheet with some lines I can barely make out. So if you could just slow down as you're pointing,
Sure, no problem. So again, I guess establish where we are. This is the existing two-floor building adjacent. The demolition that's proposed occurs to this side of the plan. The new fire-rated wall separating the two buildings will be, as I'm tracing here with my hand, we're proposing, again, the utility rooms in the top left corner up here. The front wall along the new parking occurs here. There is a proposed accessible ramp into the main office entry corner in the top right corner. Again, that's what is hatched here is shown as a maximum of 4,300 square feet of proposed future office space for a tenant. Coming down the east side of the building, we have a fire department access door here about mid-building. Not much else going on that facade. You come around the corner, we do have a proposed drive-in ramp with an overhead door here, 12 by 14 feet, and then 6 loading dock doors along the bottom. Those are 9 feet by 10 feet, sectional overhead doors with an additional fire department access door rounding out that southern elevation. Moving on to the proposed building elevations.
We'll just mark this A4.
Sure. Again, the title of this sheet is Building Elevations. The north elevation is shown here on the top. As you can see, the existing two-story building here to the right side to remain. This building is brick with punched windows, and further down there's a mixture of brick, some storefront, and some precast accents, creating kind of a vertical pattern on the brick building there. The design of the building here is utilizing insulated precast concrete panels. They're structural wall panels for the perimeter of the building. We're proposing a neutral gray contemporary color palette here for the warehouse building. Again, you can see the storefront office windows here, giving daylight and access into that proposed office area. Again, you'll see there's a small platform here getting up from parking grade up to finished floor level for access to a fire department access door, and then the utility room doors as well. On the opposite side, there is as I mentioned before, a accessible ramp to provide ADA access into that office corner and main entry of the building.
And that's the facade that's facing the residential.
That is correct.
Okay.
And as indicated previously, we are proposing a maximum height here of 40 feet or less. We're proposing a 32-foot clear height. So that means that no structural members or light fixtures or sprinkler heads or anything will drop below 32 feet clear. And that's a number that we're aiming for as far as working out with the racking and the pallet positions inside the building, kind of going 4-foot increments. So in order to keep it below 40, 32 feet clear is what we propose. And then on top of that 32 feet, you have your structural member depth, your roof insulation, and then the roof slope all needs to occur within the remaining 8 feet that we have to keep it under 40 feet. And then as per the zoning ordinance definition, we're taking the height from the average of the front elevation.
So I'm confused, I'm sorry. So the building with the roof, the building is actually how high at the highest point?
The building at its
You're
highest
talking about
point.
32 feet, then 40 feet. What is the highest point of the building?
The building will not exceed 40 feet at the highest point.
Okay.
And that's per the zoning ordinance definition.
Okay.
On the south elevation, this is the elevation facing opposite the residential. This is where you see the fire department access door, the 6 dock doors, and the drive-in ramp and door here.
Before you switch, what are those rectangles, those, yeah.
Those are clear story windows. So it's proposed storefront glazing to allow daylight into the warehouse space.
Okay. And is there any lighting on this building at all?
There is. There will be wall packs. I did a count before off of the civil plans. The civil engineering spoke to it. We do have wall packs. They're mounted at 20 feet. They will have shields. They will be downward lighting. And we haven't shown them here on this elevation yet. As we get into further, permit documentation, we will show those.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I think there may be 4 on this elevation, 1 or 2 on the side, and I believe, again, 4 on the front elevation, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So there's windows in the front and in the back?
Correct.
Clear-story windows?
Correct. So we do have the lower level office windows here, but then we do have clear story windows continuing along the front.
All right. Cool. And are those at a certain height? Sorry.
Are the windows at certain heights?
Yeah.
I believe the windows occur between, I think it was 18 and 24 feet, or 20 and 26 feet.
Okay. All right.
I don't think we have a dimension called out on the exact height, but in that range.
All right. Great.
And then, again, facing that narrow space between the new proposed and the recently completed warehouse next door, it's a pretty minimal facade where you do see a small amount of glazing wrapping the corner from the office to provide daylight into the office space.
Oh.
And then we do have one additional exhibit here showing a 3D rendering view of the building.
John, just one second. We'll mark this as A5. It's elevation, I guess, from
This is
east looking west, roughly, just because we marked the other one as elevation.
right. This would be the east elevation. And then we'll label this one A6. And again, this is taken from the northeast corner. You'll catch at the very end here the wall of the new industrial building here. and then catch the main corner here where we're proposing the office. And over to the right side, you'll see the existing building beyond. Parking in front, and again, the ADA ramp for access into the building. And in conjunction with the civil plans for the proposed trees, the rendering showing the accurate tree count proposed along the front of the building.
So that's what the residents will be looking at.
Correct. Yes, I think the majority of the view might be a little bit over from this side, but yes, this is the elevation facing the residents.
And I know you don't have the lighting on there, but none of that lighting's going to be interfering with any of the residents. It shouldn't.
There's a photometric plan prepared by the civil engineer, and it shows the tapering off of those lights. And again, the expectation is that they will be downward-facing lights with shields to avoid any direct glare from the fixtures themselves into the windows of the residents. But again, I think if you take a look at the photometric plan, it shows that lighting tapering off beyond or before the property line. If you guys are looking for the photometric plan, maybe Mitchell can let us know which sheet to refer to. Actually, I may be able to as well before he can. I got it here. It's C11.
C11,
Yes. And you can see the wall packs, and it was 4 on that facade.
C11.1. No,
See,
the actual, the fixture is shown.
Correct. C11.1 would show the fixture specifications.
With the foot candles and showing that the lights are going to tail off basically through the parking lot.
Okay. So those are just down lights?
Correct.
Okay.
I do believe we have a comment referring to the lighting.
Yep.
Where we are looking to confirm that the light net levels shall not exceed 0.5 at the property line. So I think it might just need to be extended on that one side to meet this comment, because I think it shows like 1 foot candle, so.
Okay. We're happy to comply and
Yeah.
make a modification.
You guys can update that and we'll confirm it.
Okay.
With that, I don't think we have any other direct testimony unless the board has any questions for this witness.
The board have questions? Okay, thanks. Okay. You have another witness?
We have one last witness, our, excuse me, our traffic engineer.
Okay, thank you.
You're ready to go.
If you could raise your right hand, please.
The other right.
Uh-oh. With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Thank you. State your name, please. Spell your last name.
Andrew Ferranda, Feranda.
Thank you.
Andrew, could you provide the board with your educational background, your licenses, and your professional experience as a traffic engineer before other land use boards in New Jersey?
Sure. I'm a graduate of Drexel University, Philadelphia, with a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. I'm a licensed engineer, recently renewed in the state of New Jersey, so I'm in good standing. I'm a professional traffic operations engineer, a PTOE. It's a higher certification in the traffic engineering field. I'm also a certified municipal engineer, which leads into I review traffic for boards in New Jersey, Cranberry Township, Exit 8A. I review traffic. We have plenty of warehouses there. I also review traffic for Freehold Township in Monmouth County. I have been before over 200 boards throughout the state, and I'm also a former past president of the American Society of Civil Engineers New Jersey section.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll accept you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew, your office, Shropshire Associates, had prepared a traffic analysis letter that was submitted with the application. I'd like you to summarize the findings that you made, or your office made, in that report.
Sure. Our office, as we do, look at the conditions surrounding roadways, intersections, the driveways. In this case, as was noted by the engineer, there are no changes proposed for the driveways. They will remain as currently configured for the industrial park, the existing development. There are warehouses in the development. This particular warehouse is going to be another within, say, in the donut. It will be in the middle of other warehouses, other similar type of uses. There are two access driveways, a north driveway and a south driveway. They both provide access to Livingston Ave, which is under DOT jurisdiction. As was noted, we would qualify based on no construction within the DOT's right-of-way and other parameters that the DOT has for the letter of no interest. We would qualify, and that's also based on the number of trips for this site. There is an existing office building. We did a comparison of trips for the office building to the proposed warehouse. The existing office is 32,000 square foot, and we developed the trip generation for that existing office building based on the ITE. It's a Bible for traffic engineers. It gives us the way to project traffic for certain size buildings, in this case 31,000, 32,000, and that would come up with trips for peak periods, peak commuter periods, when the roadway has traffic volumes higher than normally throughout the day. There would be the morning peak, the afternoon peak, and then on the weekend you would have a midday Saturday peak. We evaluated the peak hours for the warehouse, the 44,000 square foot warehouse. Now, we did use industrial use, which is very similar to warehouse use. It's slightly higher, a few trips higher, so we chose to use the industrial use because it fits within the zone, but it's very similar in trip generation to a warehouse. So the trips generated by the proposed 44,000 square foot warehouse using light industrial or warehouse trip generation would be about 20 to 25 trips during the AM peak, during the PM peak, and on the Saturday, it would be similar, probably a little bit more higher for the industrial, and that's why we chose to be a little bit more conservative and use the industrial type trip generation. Then we compared that to the trips for the office, and with the 25 trips during each of the peak periods, we compared to the office, which would have approximately 40 more trips, or about 50 to 60 trips during the peak period. So office would have more trips. Obviously, with a warehouse, you're going to have some truck traffic. There are 6 loading bays for the site. So we project that based on the number of trips during the peak periods, that there will be approximately 1 to 3 trucks traveling during the peak periods. Throughout the day, there might be 10 trucks that would access the 6 loading docks. Of course, trucks take time to load and unload. The loading in this case is all to the south side of the building, which is a key component of this design. It keeps it away from the residents on the north side. What happens on the north side, and this is designed correctly for this park, industrial park, is to put the parking, the residential areas to the north are going to have the employee parking, not the trucks. The trucks and the loading will be on the south side of the building. So that's going to be consistent with the circulation and the layout of the industrial park to keep the trucks away from the residents to the north. Again, there are 2 driveways. We're making use of those driveways, and we're making use of the internal circulation. There's no real changes to the circulation based on the proposed building. The circulation will remain the same, and again, trucks will access via the south driveway. To the south, and I noted the loading docks are on the south side of the building, you have the ramp from Route 1 to Livingston Ave. You have, I think there's a quick check that backs to the site, and there might be some industrial uses to the south. So that's all consistent with having the loading docks to that side. And then again, to the north, we'll keep it more to the business end with the employees. There are 70 parking spaces, replacing the 72 existing spaces. We may be losing 2 spaces. Those 2 spaces are still allow the overall parking within the industrial park to meet the requirement. The requirement is 401 parking spaces. I believe the parking going down from 435 to 433 or some odd. So we still exceed the overall parking requirement for the industrial park. And I might note that the 70 parking spaces that we are replacing to kind of replace in kind, based on the trip generation for the warehouse, if you look at 20 trips, 25 trips, the 70 parking spaces are excess for this type of use. Typically, warehouses do have access because there might be shift change where one shift is coming in, one shift is going out. I don't know if that shift change is even part of what's going on with a smaller warehouse like this, but typically you might see more parking available for a warehouse, but then it is not fully used, and that's proven out by the trip generation that we're projecting for the site during the peak periods. And I read through the review comments for the traffic. I don't think there's anything in there that we can't comply with. If there's additional testimony, I know we're providing EV parking spaces as well. Typically, you take a credit for those EV parking spaces. So even though we're down 2 physical spaces, there might be an allotment of some credits for the EV parking spaces. But I don't even think that the 70 parking spaces will be there will be a demand filling those 70 parking spaces.
I'm sorry, did the plan show that you're putting in the actual charging stations or just making the spaces ready in accordance with the state statute?
Make ready?
Make ready.
They're make-ready spaces, okay.
Correct.
I have one question, Pat. My only question is that these 6 spaces, you know, the
loading docks.
turning radius, yeah, the loading bays, it shows that vehicle, you know, tractor trailers can back in there, but every time a tractor trailer goes to back in there, it's blocking off the main access, either you or one of the other professionals said all the entering vehicles enter on the southern driveway, and that's the driveway that leads here. So nobody can get through to the 2 other warehouses, you know, employees or whatnot, or trucks, if trucks are backing into these 6 new loading bays.
Yeah, it's a good question. So maybe you can provide some testimony on it, Andrew, to the extent that I think you estimated based on the ITE standards, maybe there's 10 trucks visiting this specific building throughout the day. If one is stopping and backing up, given the rest of how the site's designed, do you foresee that it's going to create a backup throughout the site or impact anything else off-site as a result?
I don't believe it will impact the circulation on site. Again, this particular location, this warehouse, is deeper into the site. That impact will not be to the roadways or intersections outside the site, but internal to the site. Yeah, there's some coordination, there's some maneuvering that will have to go on to make sure that a truck backing in, other trucks will wait while that truck is backing in, and that goes on today with operations on site. So yes, there will be some coordination between the different uses and the on-site circulation. And I believe a turning analysis.
It's only while they're making the maneuver. I mean,
Yeah.
you have enough depth there for 52
Correct.
Yes,
So
yes.
it would only be where the truck pulls up, pauses, and then backs up. The trucks are not going to be parking. It's just they're going to be docking and moving into the dock and out of the drive aisle. But it might be a minute or two while they pause and back up. It's a good question, but that's what we anticipate the site circulation working.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? No. Okay. Well, can I get a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
And a second, please? Would anyone from the public like to be heard on this application? Sure, come on, sir. You could just state and spell your name for the record.
Jonathan Flanders. I'm with the Environmental Commission. I'm the chair.
Okay. Very good. You're representing the Environmental Commission right now.
I'm on the Environmental Commission now.
Right. But you're not here as a citizen, you're here as a representative of the Environmental Commission. Or both?
Both, I guess, yeah. Okay. We make recommendations. We don't have any willpower.
Okay. Yeah, well, you know.
So you touched on one of the things, the solar panels, and I'd say a 44,000 square foot warehouse is ideal for solar panels, so I'm hoping you'll move forward with that, looking into installing solar panels on the roof.
Councilor, do you have anybody that can address that directly?
So our engineer, I think, addressed it earlier and advised that, we'll consider it. The applicant at other project has installed solar. I can't necessarily make a guarantee, but we'll look into it.
Okay.
We understand the recommendation and
appreciate
the
it.
purpose of it.
Okay, next thing, on sheet 7 of the drawings that I got, I count 47 trees to be removed. About 3/4 of those are 15-inch in diameter or greater, which is a shame to lose all those trees. I understand there is a deal where the builder compensates the town if they don't put up trees on the property there. I guess one thing I'd like to note is large diameter tree isn't the same as replacing it with a new tree, so I hope there's some calculation for some tree that's like 24-inch in diameter that more trees are replaced than just
There
one.
is, and then there's also a process by which they give a summary of measures taken to preserve those existing trees, and that they look at the specimen trees, and all efforts should be made to preserve specimen trees. So there's a process in the ordinance that we'll work with them to follow, and then that compensation for planting elsewhere is like the last resort.
Got it, okay. The next thing is a question on sheet 11. I see a 9,000 cubic foot underground storage system. Is that for rainwater, or what is that collection for?
I think our engineer who's behind you could answer that question.
Can he come up to the microphone?
Yeah, I think a lot of the questions are going to be, based on my review of the Environmental Commission's comments, a lot of these are going to be civil, so we'll just have Mr. Summit come back up.
Yeah, that's a detention tank. So to meet the runoff requirements for NJDEP, we have to make sure that we're meeting certain reductions in stormwater runoff. And so replacing that area of that open space area with impervious area in order to make sure that we're not increasing runoff off the site, we have that detention system as well as the stormwater planter that's handling the roof detention.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a detention system underground.
So will there be any additional runoff to the sewers after building this, or are you going to be able to, I guess there's a detention base and then there's this storage tank. Is that going to pretty much keep all the water on site, or is there going to be more water going off site?
There will be less water going off.
Less water, okay. And I guess just a follow-up to that, what is the permeability before and after building?
Of the site?
Site, yeah.
Ooh, I'd have to look at the impervious area versus pervious area, but this site is clay, Class D soil with shale underneath it, so
Nothing
it
goes
doesn't
down.
go
Okay,
down
got it.
anyways. We would love it if it could infiltrate. It would make my life a lot easier, but it does not. I can get you the numbers on impervious versus pervious in existing.
I got it with the clay, though. It's not really percolating. Okay. And last question, do you have any plans to put signage, or I would advise putting up signs to enforce no idling rules for New Jersey, like when the trucks back into the bays?
I think, Mr. Watson can correct me, but I think that was a comment.
Yeah.
I believe that was a comment that you
Right, in your report to provide that signage, which we agreed to
For the
comply.
idling?
For the idling?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think
That's-
I'm assuming that Mr. Watson's recommendation complies with what you're requesting,
Yeah.
so, and we agreed to comply with his report.
Okay. All right. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you do have the impervious coverage on your title sheet here, so permitted is 80, existing is 66.9, and proposed is 70.2, and it complies. That's what your table says on your title sheet.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else from the public want to be heard on this application? Motion that we close?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We will need a motion to approve or not approve this application
I motion to approve.
based on the compliance with the
Yes.
engineer's recommendations.
Yes, based off the engineer's recommendation. and-
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call?
Mr. Melanson?
Yes.
Ms. DeCandia? Yes. Ms. Hutchinson?
Yes.
Ms. Malvone?
Yes.
Mr. Banley?
Yes.
Mr. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Vigna?
Yes.
Mr. Frushine?
Yes. Okay,
Thank you, everyone, for your time. We greatly appreciate it.
thank you. Okay.
I don't know if I've ever gotten a clap before. I appreciate that.
Now, Mr. Vigna's big moment. Master plan consistency review.
All right, so we'll just give them a second to clear out. And, okay, so the governing body forwarded an ordinance to us adopting a redevelopment plan that they've been working on with the developer, Segis, a warehouse developer, for the last year and a half. And as the board is familiar, we voted approximately 2 years ago. We had a public hearing, and we hired a consultant, and we determined that this property, the old Boy Scouts headquarters or Wells Fargo complex, we determined that it was an area in need of redevelopment. Based upon that, the governing body then retained a consultant to come up with a redevelopment plan. And there was a conversation, was all kinds of analysis and information provided, marketing studies, and where we are is this. The law requires that before the governing body adopts a redevelopment plan, that they submit it to the planning board, and the planning board they're given 45 days to issue a report containing the planning board's recommendations concerning the redevelopment plan. And the statute says the report shall include an identification of any provisions in the redevelopment plan which are inconsistent with the master plan, recommendations concerning these inconsistencies, and any other matters the planning board deems appropriate. So, basically, very briefly, the property was rezoned. This property is 87 acres. 63 acres of that, or 63% of that is wetlands. The remainder of the property is all impervious. There's about 143,000, I think, square feet of buildings there. Back in 2006, the planning board recommended that this property be changed from general office to office research. There was a booming office market then, so it made sense, and the governing body went ahead, followed the master plan, and rezoned it for office research. In 2018, when we did a reexamination, it was determined by the planning board to leave a reexamination of the master plan. It was determined to leave this property office research again, because even though the market was not booming, it was still stable. And then COVID-19 hit, and there are radical changes in the office market, and there were such huge shifts in working patterns, many companies switching to hybrid or all working from home. So the market for office complexes that are not related to transit, if it's not a transit-friendly or a mixed-use-friendly area with a bunch of housing, high-density housing, there's very little market for office. So the property is sat for 2 years vacant. The study that determined that it was an area in need of redevelopment showed that there's no market for any of the permitted uses, office or research. There are millions and millions of dollars worth of repairs that would have to be done to the buildings that were built in 1953, and that's millions of dollars in repairs for uses that we cannot get any, they cannot get any tenant for. As a result, the governing body has worked and come up with a redevelopment plan that allows the site to be developed primarily for a warehouse with a small residential pad, commercial pad along the frontage. Be 8,000 to 10,000 square feet of commercial is probably what could be fit in the front, and then warehouse would be built where there's currently impervious surface. Like I said, 63% of the site approximately is wetlands. The proposed standards that the governing body has included in the redevelopment plan include things such as, the Environmental Commission is here, it includes a requirement that they must put solar panels, the warehouse development, they must put solar panels on the roof. The buildings, all buildings have to be designed so they'd be the equivalent of LEED Silver, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. They will not have to submit for formal approval, but they will have to design and submit all the calculations to the planning board when they subsequently came in for site plan approval. And the governing body also required that the loading bays be on the Route 1 side of the property, so there would be no backup noises or dropping of containers to affect the residential development to the rear of the site. So the governing body has developed a redevelopment plan that will effectively, is a public hearing scheduled for June 29th, it will effectively become the zoning on the site. The governing body has referred it to us for the planning board for a report. We have a choice. We can issue a report. We cannot issue a report. The governing body would then go ahead without us issuing a report. If we issue a report, we need to determine, is it consistent or inconsistent with the master plan? It's inconsistent with the master plan because the master plan calls for office research. Then any comments relating to these inconsistencies, we had discussed very briefly in the workshop session that one of the reasons for the inconsistency of the proposed development is that there is no market in this location. There's absolutely no market for office research in this area. That's why the governing body has come up with a plan for something that is not consistent with the master plan. And then, so we have the option, don't issue any report at all. The governing body will still have a public hearing on the 29th. Issue a report that simply states that it's inconsistent with the master plan because the master plan is office research. And then the governing body will have that report and they'll have their public hearing on the 29th. We could issue it and say it's inconsistent, but we understand reasons. I had discussed that I had prepared a draft of a report, if the planning board saw fit, that would establish reasons why it makes sense, where it would appear to make sense to go in this direction and why there are advantages to doing this through a redevelopment plan. Much enhanced buffers, less square footage than we'd otherwise have, environmental requirements like solar panels. So we have options. The one thing that, we need to discuss is, it's clearly inconsistent with the master plan. Do we want to issue a report or a letter report that simply says that? Or do we want to issue a letter report that goes beyond that and makes comments, I had suggested some comments that could be made to support the idea of moving forward with that. It's completely up to the planning board.
Okay. So, as we've discussed, I guess I'm in the camp of stating that it's not in conformance with the existing master plan. Although I agree, the existing master plan is not presently, office research is not the best use for the property. I get that. I've stated I think the governing body could come up with possibly some better uses that would better serve the township residents than a warehouse on that property. This is my personal opinion. I've stated that I think there should maybe be an attempt to retain this property for maybe recreational use or some. I mean, we're sorely lacking in things like that in town. We certainly aren't lacking in warehouses. So I guess my opinion would be I personally would return it as not being consistent with the master plan, in the hopes that they would reconsider what they're hoping to do. So that's my personal opinion. So with that, I'll leave it up to the rest of the board to voice their opinion if they choose to. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm kind of torn because in so much as that I would like to see the space being redeveloped for something that's more amicable for the residents here in the town, just given what I know with the location. I don't object to a warehouse. I mean, it's not the best. It's not the best, but it probably give us a little bit of revenue coming in, and then it would also, hopefully we have some incentives from the builder coming in. I mean, granted that they can, provide some sort of buffer between the houses that are there, and hopefully we'll be able to, there are talks of another recreation facility possibly somewhere else, but.
Yeah, but I don't think
Yeah.
I don't think it amounts to 30-plus acres of space to build it on. We do
True,
we don't have any real opportunities for any sizable piece of property in this town, obviously, anymore, to provide recreational services to the residents. And I think,
which is true, and we are,
putting a warehouse here and then being happy with a 2-acre site somewhere next to a warehouse, and calling that a recreational space, I don't think it serves the residents. But again, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I hear you. I see both sides. It's kind of torn.
Anybody else want to jump in on this? Yeah?
I agree with Pat. I agree with Mr. Melanson. I just want to say, obviously we already know it's inconsistent with the master plan, and I would just hope that the governing body would reconsider a warehouse, especially with the residences right on the border of that property line. There's, the tree line separating that, and the residence is very small. A 150-foot a setback is really not enough of a setback, in my opinion, to put a warehouse or any other building in that area.
Okay.
But what else?
Well,
What else do we have in terms of?
Yeah.
It just seems unfortunate that in North Brunswick nowadays, we turn to warehouses all the time. I understand that there's, revenue.
Most towns.
And whether it's most towns or not, this is the town that I live in, and I'm just opposed to, I'll just say, I'm opposed to having so many warehouses, and with that land, with that space that you have there, granted, it can't be used for offices, or it's deemed, that it would not be, of any value to anyone as an office area. Where North Brunswick is becoming very, very industrial and commercial. And I would like to see the township try to preserve rather than not.
Okay. So,
So I just want to put my comments on the record. I think it was clear from the study that was done to determine that it was an area in need of redevelopment 2 years ago, that office was not going to fly there. And looking at other uses, warehouses appeared to be the only viable use from a rateable standpoint. I think the governing body has advanced it. I'm not speaking for the governing body, but I believe they probably worked long and hard to do everything they could to mitigate any impacts. But I don't, my belief is that it's the only viable use for a property of this size, and that the governing body in the redevelopment plan has put in a number of standards and requirements for buffering and things to try and mitigate the impacts. And so those are my comments.
okay. Well, I appreciate it. I guess we can go back and forth all night about our opinions. So, do you want me to?
I would just say the question would just be, Pat, does the board just want to issue a report that indicates that it is inconsistent with the master plan, or does the board want to add any other comment, because it says that we are to provide a report determining whether it's inconsistent with the master plan, recommendations concerning the inconsistencies, and any other matters. So this could be done by letter. This is not, this could be simply done by a letter. You could authorize Lou to draft a letter to the governing body saying the board considered it, and here's what the board has determined. So it could be done by letter. You agree, right? So then just what kind of comments or anything would you just like in a letter?
Well, obviously my comments would be everything I just said, but that's, it's not just my comments that count. So we would have to, I guess we just take by a show of hands, who wants to, first of all, who is okay with Tom's recommendation as it is right now?
If I may, the way I see it, we have three options. Number one, a letter. We reviewed everything and we're not taking a position. Number two, we reviewed everything and we feel that, and I'm just throwing it out here, and we feel that it's inconsistent with the master plan. Or number three, the approach that Tom has set out, we feel it's inconsistent. However, here's some other comments maybe to help them. Yeah, so those seem to me to be where we are.
Okay, all right, so that seems reasonable. So those are our three options. Either we take no position at all, or we take the position that it's inconsistent with the master plan, or we take the position that we've reviewed Tom's letter and we recommend the following.
And that letter was just food for thought as to assuming the planning board supported it. Because it appears to be, the only reasonable market-driven use. There were reasons to support it, but, so it was nothing but a draft of a letter. So it's pretty clear to me that the board does not want to go in that direction.
Oh, I don't know that that's me.
Oh.
I mean, I can't speak for
You
everybody.
need a majority vote for
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
And that's what we've
whoever by a show of hands wants to take no position, you have any hands for that? No? Everybody wants it? Okay. We take the position that it's inconsistent with the master plan.
And good luck. Or,
Yeah, well, hold on. Let's get to the last option, and I'm not going to tell you what to vote. But the last option.
I thought you were looking for a show of hands who's interested for each one.
Well, yes, I am. But, let me throw out the last one, because you might change your mind, because I thought that was not that's a reasonable idea as well. I mean, we have read Tom's plan and reviewed it, and these are our recommendations. And
it's inconsistent, but. And just keep
then,
going.
when do we have to get this back to them, Tom?
Well, the public hearing is the 29th. It was referred to us. Do you have the referral letter? I have the referral letter here somewhere.
The
But-
clerk.
So the last option I would say, is that we determine it's inconsistent with the master plan. What I drafted were reasons why I think it's reasonable that it's inconsistent with the master plan, and I pointed out reasons why I think, given that, it's advantageous, and why the planning board would recommend the governing body go ahead with it. So that's one option, right?
That's already what your letter says.
Yeah.
So that's your letter.
And that can
Now-
be, right.
That'd be tidied up.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it can be modified in
But,
any way.
at that point, I don't know if everybody is on
Yeah.
board. I'd be happy to email you what I think should happen, and you can somehow tweak that in as a position of, and I don't know if everybody wants to kind of email in to Tom.
Pat, can I take a crack at this?
Sure.
I think the whole board is pretty much in agreement we're inconsistent with the master plan. So option one would be off the table. So now we're debating about 2 versus 3. If we go with 3, you can modify what Tom's put down to say, the majority of the board would prefer something that has a more beneficial use to the members of the community. And you can put a couple of ideas down, but if none of those are viable, then the warehouse seems like the next best option. So we've voiced an opinion of our goal to help the community, to benefit the community. But if that's really not a viable option, then this may be the next best option. And I think then we've explored it, we're doing what we're supposed to do. And at that point, we put it in the township's hands, in the council's hands.
I'm okay with it.
Is everybody okay with that option?
Yeah.
That we,
Yeah, if you're going to add some options.
We'll add some options in there and kind of point out our position, whatever yours may be. I'll email mine to Tom.
And if none of those are.
I don't feel comfortable doing it with me waiting to get email things. If anybody has something they'd like to say right now, look, the bottom line is it's clearly inconsistent. I think everybody understands why it's inconsistent, because there's no market for that. So the remaining thing is, is there any other matter we deem appropriate related to this ordinance? Like we shouldn't be talking about school enrollments. We shouldn't be, we should be, so I think the general sense is that I've heard that people would prefer, if it was financially feasible, that the governing body acquire it for recreation purposes.
Or at least explore that option to see if there's any feasibility to do something like that. So I don't know how you want to word that, but it's the planning board's position that we understand Tom's plan, but we would prefer that the governing body explore options that would better serve the township residents, such as a recreation center or some type of community center you know, since the township is lacking that now.
How is that done, though? I mean, we recommend it.
The bottom line is, we're not the bottom line is, we're not rezoning it. The governing body is having a hearing on adopting a zoning ordinance, so so you're saying we'd prefer that, Pat, that the governing body explore other options to better serve the community, like a recreation center or something like that. Well, okay, so, but there's a public hearing on the 29th. Go ahead.
Do we have somebody look at it to see if it is feasible? Redevelopment, you know, to kind of look at it?
They're warehouse industrial developers. CGIS is not going to.
But do we have somebody on our end that can look at it to say, okay, you know, it's feasible to be X, Y, and you know, how feasible is it to have a recreation? I mean,
based on market, based on what it costs, how much is it going to cost to tear the buildings down, how much is it going to cost to buy the property from CGIS? I mean, it's you know, I mean, this is a Route 1 property. It could be, it would be, I know it would be millions and millions of dollars, but there's a public hearing on the 29th. So,
You know, that's, I'm not naive. That's
Right, yeah,
understood.
yeah.
But, you know, townships do it all the time. You know, you get grants, you find ways, you reach out to state officials or whoever you have to reach out to get some aid to make it happen. You know, even if you're gonna float a bond or you do whatever you have to make it happen. The point, you know, you talk about, and you're right, this is a great rateable, doesn't strain the services of the township. But I think for too many years, we chase the ratables at the expense of the quality of life of the residents. That's the way I feel. I don't think they're getting what they should be getting. I just don't. I mean, you look at surrounding towns, and quite frankly, it's disgraceful how little we have in this town for the amount of population that we have.
One thing that I mentioned earlier would be, and June 29th is too tight of a time frame for this.
It's true.
The governing body, and this would be through the municipal attorney, and the governing body could authorize a very expeditious reexamination of the master plan for that lot. You can do that. You don't have to do the whole town. There's no notice required for all the surrounding property owners. And if they conclude, yeah, industrial's the way to go, warehouse is the way to go, the governing body can then tweak the ordinance so you're not or do something with the plan, so the plan would now conform with the recommendation of the planner that this lot be take it out of what it offers research.
I don't.
It takes a longer process.
I don't agree with that. I don't believe that there could be a study, me or anybody else do a study on that one lot to determine whether its designation in the master plan should change.
Yeah.
And that doesn't affect anything. I believe the governing body put this forward because they believe this is the best and highest use of the land, and that they've done the best job that they can. And that's what I'm saying. So based on that, no planner is going to look at it. It doesn't matter. They have the right to adopt it. It's inconsistent with the master plan for spelling out reasons, because of market conditions, they have a right to do it. So my preference would be, I guess at this point in time, my preference would be that we just determine that it is inconsistent with the master plan, and the master plan, it's not viable to do anything in accordance with the master plan given market conditions. And then if anybody has any other comments they want to make, they can reach out to the governing body. There's a public, you can reach out to somebody and tell them, you know, what you think. I don't believe it's appropriate here in looking at a proposed zoning ordinance to say it would be nice to acquire that for public purposes. We don't zone for public purposes. We have an ERR zone that happens to be just existing public land. You know, it's the county workhouse, it's the Board of Ed. We don't create a public, here, let's zone for a park. We don't take private land and zone it for a park.
What's community park?
Well, no, we purchased that. Then we rezoned it. We didn't zone private land for a park.
I'm not saying zone it for a park and steal it from the developer. I understand he has to be paid. I get it. I'm not saying that. You know,
Maybe go with Tom's approach. Tom can draft something, we can work on it together very quickly, and then we can get it out. But that's basically saying it's inconsistent, which everyone
You're
knows.
saying that the requirement is that they come to us, we review it, and we comment on it.
We have the, right.
So that's our comment. Our comment is, we think it's inconsistent with the master plan.
Yep.
We think better use would be recreational, or at least explore the opportunity to get recreational. I appreciate the governing body's efforts. And just because they come to the conclusion that this is the best use, doesn't necessarily mean they're right, okay? They could be wrong.
But
So,
if we.
sorry, but it could happen.
But if we've looked, it's not just us doing that. We've had professionals who come back and give us that feedback. So it's not like we're just coming up.
Excuse me, let me just.
No, I'm sorry.
You're going to professionals and asking them, what is the best developable use for this property? You're basically asking them, what is the best commercial use for this property? Well, a recreational center or a public property for the public is not a commercial use, so they're not going to give you that as an option. You're asking them what is the best commercial use, best tax rateable that they can get. And they came to you, and I agree with that. If you came to me and said nothing about recreational, we had all the recreational properties and facilities in the town that we needed, and you came to me and said, what's the best use for this property? We think warehouse at this moment is, I would agree with you 100%. Great tax rateable, doesn't affect the services in the town, doesn't put kids in the schools, great rateable. But at some point, you got to stop putting the rateable against the better interests of the township residents. That's my opinion. You can tell me I'm wrong too, but that's the way I feel.
No, I think.
Go ahead. I just feel like this right now is like an exercise in futility, because I feel that the governing body has made a decision on the redevelopment plan. We're just here to put a rubber stamp on it and say, okay, we're behind this, it's great. Otherwise, we're just saying it's inconsistent with the master plan, which means nothing, because that's a fact. That's a known fact. So what are we even doing here right now? I mean, we can make, I'm sorry, I agree with you totally, Pat, but the reality of the situation is that we don't really have a say. All we have to say is, let's give Tom's letter, and Tom's letter is giving, basically supporting the governing body and why
That's Tom's position, and that's what he's entitled to that.
the redevelopment should happen. But other than that, and us adding a few comments in there, like your like it should be served for the community with the recreational center. My comment of, why there's too many warehouses in North Brunswick, which no one's going to care about that. But honestly,
But if you say nothing, you have 0%
right,
effective
but we are saying what we're saying. So what are we going to do about it? Are we going to put it in the letter? Are we going to add it as an addendum to what Tom has? Are we going to write it something separately, or are we just going to show up on June 29th?
No, I think.
I mean, that's how I look at it.
If I could just say, what I did and what I ended up for people to look at was just, was some, a little bit of history on the property, we're familiar with it, and why it's inconsistent, and why it makes sense to move forward with this, and why doing it this way through a redevelopment plan had certain advantages. But at this point in time, I'd like to just take what I had written, up off the record. Pretend it doesn't exist, okay? I've made clear my point. I believe the governing body has spent a long time looking at this, and I believe they wish there was another use, viable use other than that. So, my position is that it's inconsistent with the master plan. I understand why, because there's no market for office research. And at this point in time, if it was up to me, I'd make a motion that we just state that. And the comments that you have about Pat or anybody else who thinks, well, maybe the governing body should try and acquire it, pick up the phone and call your council person and tell them that. I don't believe that's appropriate to, my belief is that that's not appropriate to put into a statement about what we think here, that, hey, we don't want it to be developed at all. We'd like it to be a conservation area, or we'd like it to be a recreation area. I don't believe that's appropriate. We've been asked to comment on the ordinance. So, I'll tell you, look, nobody has to second this, or if we do, I'm making a motion that we simply state that we've reviewed it and the redevelopment plan is inconsistent with the master plan, and the planning board acknowledges that the change in the office market makes development under the master plan, very difficult. And I would just end it at that. That's my motion.
So you're saying that we shouldn't take a position or give our opinion, yet this does just that.
But
No, he's
well,
taking
I
this off the table.
tried
Tom just
to
said
write
throw
down.
it away.
I tried
Throw it
to,
away. He's
I tried
rescinding
to
it.
write down reasons, assuming the planning board was in support of it. Say, hey, we're inconsistent with the master plan, but we comment on it, but here's why it is inconsistent and why this makes sense. But the board doesn't feel that way. So I'm saying, my motion is just we determine it's inconsistent with the master plan. We understand because of market conditions, that's why that is. And then your comments about you thinking that the town should look to acquire it, to me, that should be addressed by a phone call to your council person. I don't know, Mary, what do you think about that?
I think that this should
And we just
go away, and then, yeah.
Yeah, because I really don't understand the
Yeah, I
purpose of
agree.
bringing it to the planning board if we can't make comment on it, except that it's inconsistent.
I think that we should just forget about this.
You can.
Yes, well, forget about it. It's just for your edification.
You can, Sue, you can make comments on it. I'm just suggesting, I don't think it's appropriate to say, hey, it'd be nice, we'd like to see you acquire for a park instead. I don't think that's,
But what other type of comment would be appropriate?
some other type of use. I don't know, to me, if you think the governing body should acquire it, I would say pick up the phone and call a council person and tell them that.
Right now, we're all not in agreement, so I think that what you're proposing, your motion, is, the most viable option right now. So I'll second.
That was just-
I am going to second your motion, Tom. Second your motion.
Okay, all right, so the motion that was seconded was it's inconsistent with the master plan due to changing market conditions related to office research.
Full stop.
Period.
Full stop.
Yeah. I would say just, it's inconsistent with the master plan, full stop. I don't know what you have to mention the office research part for.
Okay, all right, so you want to, Pat wants, okay, so Pat is saying we should just say that it's, that we determined that it's inconsistent with the master plan,
Okay. Second.
okay?
All right, Mr. Melanson.
I withdraw my motion.
You what?
I withdraw my motion.
What do you mean you withdraw?
My motion was that we comment
Oh, the
why
original
it was inconsistent, yeah, so we'll
Oh,
go
I
with
got
yours.
it. Okay.
So
Your
right
motion
now-
is just that
It's
it's
my motion that
inconsistent with the
Right now, we reviewed it, it's inconsistent with the master plan because of what, fine.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
My-
You ready?
My vote is yes.
Okay, your vote is yes. Ms. DeCandia.
I'm confused
Ms. Hutchinson.
Okay, explain this to me again? Sorry.
We are now voting that we reviewed the document and.
Which
it is
document?
this.
Not
Tom's.
No,
No.
we've
Oh, the ordinance.
we've reviewed the redevelopment plan and determined that it's inconsistent with the master plan.
That's what he said.
That's what we've reviewed the redevelopment plan.
But you're only saying that because we read it in here.
No, you know it's inconsistent
okay.
because in the package it shows, in the redevelopment plan, it shows that it's zoned OR.
And then what am I voting for again?
It's a known fact.
That's what we are going to submit, that we are going to, that.
Okay.
In the package in the package, the second map in the redevelopment plan shows that it's zoned office research. And office research.
And that's
does not
it?
permit
Full
warehouse.
stop? That's all we're saying, is that it's just not part, it's not part of the,
That's, the last motion from Pat is a motion that the planning board has reviewed the plan and determined, here is the page in the plan that shows in blue, that's the office research zone. The office research zone, that's office research, does not permit industrial. So we are determining that the redevelopment plan is inconsistent with the master.
so because this is
Period.
inconsistent, then what happens next? They
Now,
can then
the
go
governing
forward.
body, who, by the way, knows it's inconsistent with the master plan.
okay.
The governing body, if they were to adopt it, would have to spell out the reasons for adopting, in their minutes,
okay.
they'd have to spell out the reasons for why they are adopting a redevelopment plan, which becomes a zoning ordinance, which is inconsistent with the master plan.
So that's the motion.
So, yeah.
You got a yes or a no? Doesn't matter. Go right ahead.
Yes, it's fine. It'll come to me.
Ms. Malvone.
I know.
Yes.
Mr. Manley.
So now
Yes.
that it's just, we're just making a determination that it's inconsistent with the master plan.
Yes,
Okay.
that's it.
Mr. Rubenstein.
Yes.
Mr. Vigna.
We're down to me already? Yes.
Mr. Furshine.
Yes.
We went through everybody? I didn't hear everybody had to get their vote.
You got everybody right?
Okay, so Lou is going to draft a letter to the governing body saying that the planning board has reviewed the redevelopment plan and determined that it's inconsistent with the master plan on such and such a date. Lou's going to do that letter.
1 second. You're gonna get to speaking. 1 second.
Oh, wait,
We
we're
have to
not
do the
done.
public portion.
Oh, okay, sorry.
All right, somebody make a motion to open to the public?
Second.
Okay. Public, you ready? I just need your name.
Question.
Can you give us your name first?
I'm Ginny Kyle. I'm a member of the Environmental Commission, but I also live in the neighborhood.
Okay.
So I'm just questioning, the public meeting on June 29th was supposed to be about this property.
That's a council meeting.
It's the council.
Yeah.
And
That'll be the council, but you can come to that and speak at the
Right, I
council.
mean,
Public hearing on
this property is going to be discussed at the
Yes.
council meeting.
And they actually have the last word on what's going to happen with it. All we can do is give an opinion. We can't make it happen. So.
I can't quite hear that.
I said, all we can do is give an opinion to the council. We don't actually make it happen. They're going to make it happen. So you'll be more effective there if you want to speak about that. All right. Thank you. Okay. We good? Motion we close the public meeting?
So move.
Motion we adjourn?
So move.
Second? Okay.
All right, meeting adjourned?
We're done.
Okay.
Wow, that was a late one. That was a late one.
Yeah, you know what?